I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 No filter, I got no filter.
Oh, talk about perfect timing.
If that don't pep you up, nothing will.
Oh, I wish I could have heard it because I had to run. Oh, crap. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Welcome to Tuesday night, our Paramotor Hangout on Tuesday night. Was slightly distracted there for a moment. Welcome, everybody. Mr. Will, you are going to be my one and only tonight on this evening of nothing but I don't want to say the word love, but well, we're together today. So, because where's Mark?
You and me, we're together.
Yeah, just the two of us.
We can. How's that go? We can
make it if we tried.
Yeah,
just
the
two of us.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mr. Mark McElroy is out on a all expense paid by Mark. I think he said he had 61 member staff tonight to give him and his wife dinner. And yeah, I mean,
how much staff does he need?
Listen, I mean, he doesn't even hold his own drink to his hand. Like he doesn't even hold his own drink. He's just like, and then it's just like someone gives him a drink. I mean, the fork goes into whatever he's eating, and it gets. I mean, the personal chefs, the butlers. I mean,
yeah, I have a feeling, and it's okay to rag on Mark because he's not here, right? So
yeah,
I have a feeling he has no idea what a spork is.
Oh no, he's never even no. He went to private school, so you know they had real forks and knives and even spoons. He had a salad fork, a real like a dinner fork. He had the whole thing.
Yeah, I went to private school too, and I turned out just fine.
Yeah, but he went to a fancy one.
Yeah, I went to Christian school all my life, so but I didn't have no forks and fancy silverware or anything like that. I mean, basically, you stood in line and went to the lunchroom, and you picked out one of those freaking sandwiches that was cut in half and was like in a triangle container. Yep. And you had to peel the cellophane back. Oh my gosh.
Well, I went to public school on what is it, limited income or whatever it is, and I got free lunch. So oh crap. Let me see. Daddy just said he checked my phone. There's nothing on my phone.
Well, he's in the chat.
Oh, I just got it. He's got Gage's support shirt on. He's another guy that I cared enough for that I gave a support shirt to, Will.
Yeah, you didn't give me one. I know that much. I'm still wearing the same, Mark McElroy shirt.
That you bought and paid for.
Yeah, that I bought and paid for. Hey, he's since made up for that, so
yes,
I'm off the hook in that regards.
All right, Will. Hey, let's talk about the subject at hand tonight. That is going to be.
Well, we were going to talk about the variomatic prop, and anyone, we were talking, and I still can't remember what show it was, but we were talking about the different ways. Where can we go from here? How can the equipment that we fly, specifically wings and stuff like that, how can it get any better? I mean, it seems like you'd reach a plateau where, and I think a lot of growth happens that way. You go straight up and then you kind of level off, and then another major progress and you kind of level off. But this dude is, he's creating he's calling it a variomatic propeller. And that concept is not new, but it sure is new on a paramotor. And basically, it's like a constant speed propeller or a variable pitch propeller. So that depending on what you're doing, whether you're on takeoff or landing, or if you're in flight, so I was kind of intrigued by it, but I could not find any more information on it other than that one little video.
Right.
So, has anyone heard anything about a variomatic or a constant speed prop or a variable speed prop, whatever? If you have, I'd like to know about it. But the other thing we were going to talk about, which is a real good topic, is self-training with, was it, how did Mark Brian put it?
It's self-training with used equipment or going to school without or with a budget.
With no budget. So the way
With
I
no
read that was like the sky's the limit or money's not the problem. That would probably, the latter would probably be the best. Money's not the problem.
Right. I mean, so, Will, you went to you went to school. I went to school. Mark went to school. Um, I don't know too many people. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know too many people that were self-taught. I do know a bunch of guys that literally have bought a bunch of used equipment and paid dearly for it, which not for the price of the equipment, but all the problems with the equipment.
Yeah. You see what Mad Sloper said? I wonder if this is the same guy that we were, Marceau, or last night on ClearProp TV, we had a guest and he went on a trip to, where was that? Dang, man, it's been a long freaking day. It was only yesterday. But they do trips, and Scout Paramotors, who basically sponsors it. So you fly, you can bring your wing if you want, but you use their equipment. It was not Egypt,
Oh no!
Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
Saudi Arabia, yeah. And so I wonder if that's the same guy. Yeah, you're right, James. I don't know. So, but as far as the training goes, I'm not going to judge somebody who trains themselves, trains themselves. I would try to steer someone away from it, looking to get into the sport, because I don't believe that that's the way, you should get into the sport. I think you should get into it right. And the way you start is you get hooked up with that's a key word, a good, honest group of guys who are in it to fly and just to fly, to have fun. They're not selling you nothing. They're not pushing nothing. That's just, in the beginning, because you don't know what you don't know. And that happened to me. And when I first looked into the sport, it was incredibly difficult. Now, this was only a little over 3 years ago. It was incredibly difficult for me to find anybody in my local area that flew. Even though I couldn't find instructors, or I would call or leave a message or send them something on the internet, and I'd never get a reply back. And so I say that should be the very first thing that anybody does, including before they do a tandem flight. Because how do you know who to take a tandem flight with, right?
Right, correct.
So yeah. And so long story short, for me, I did go the instructor route. I'm not real satisfied with the instruction that I got, to say the least. And most of my learning came from that group of guys that I eventually hooked up with. And if it weren't for them, I don't think I would be in the sport today. So if it's super, super important, if you're really interested in flying paramotors, that you start right. Because it wouldn't take too many things to go wrong before someone would just be like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. And as a matter of fact, on my first day of flying, and I had my accident, I went home. I was actually in tears that day because I had so much invested mentally, emotionally into, okay, man, I found it. This is for me. That I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. So that's when I got on Facebook and I started chatting with the local group of guys, and they encouraged me. You know, here's the thing: I broke a prop, right, amongst a lot other things, but not one single time did my instructor say, "Hey, man, that happens. Stuff happens like that." I mean, you know, that's normal. That's part of growing in the sport. You know, whereas I was thinking like, oh man, obviously I did something wrong and I could have done better. And now, you know what I mean? So I was questioning whether or not I was even going to stay in the sport. That's why
Well,
I believe it's important to get started right.
I had almost quit after day 3. True story. I called Krista and I said, "Listen, I screwed up. Like I'm $2,500 for training." And I said, I can't do this. It's too hard." And she literally just said, "Then don't come home." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "You're gonna hate yourself for quitting, and you're gonna be miserable, and I don't want to be part of that. So don't come home." And I literally hung up that phone, and I had probably a good hour of sitting there completely sore, bruised, beaten, and not beaten just physically but mentally as well. And the next day we did towing. I did great at, or I did good at towing, and then um, we ended up that afternoon flying. And I mean, I I called her up and I actually cried because I was so happy. I was like, "Dude, I almost quit, and I didn't get to experience this feeling that when you're in the air." And she's like, "I told you, like you." My problem is, and by no means am I bragging, but I'm normally good, like really good at something I've never done before. And this I wasn't. Kiting just was not my thing. I was so defeated in kiting that my teacher didn't even come over by me. Just left me over there on the side of the field, like he'll figure it out. Like he's so in his head right now. There's nothing I can do about it. Do I blame him or have any negative feelings about that? No, but it's true. I was beating myself up so bad that I might as well have just gone home for the day and waited to come back the next day and try it again. But I kept going, and I just made myself worse and worse and worse. To this day, I hate kiting. Can I kite? Yeah, somewhat. Not as good as I should be after 3 years of flying, but I did. On that third day, I called my wife up afterwards, and I was like, "Dude, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. I screwed up." And she's like, "Well, don't come home." And I was just like, "Oh well."
You're going to be black and blue no matter what, man.
Yeah, I was like, I want to come home, but I mean, but she was absolutely right. If I ever quit anything, which has been very few things that I've ever quit, it's weeks of me just being miserable because I'm so mad at myself for not being able to finish it. So it for her, I thank her very much for making me see my me being in my head and whatever. But yeah, I'm glad I went to school.
Yeah. But okay, so okay, school is important. We both agree on that, right?
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that you have to spend $3,000, $3,500 for training. There are some good instructors out there who are much more, much less expensive, and they're good they give good instruction. So that should not be a barrier to entry. One thing though that they always say is, if the money you don't spend on training, you're going to spend on equipment. And oh yeah, John, thank you for that. I think that's the video that I saw, but I was looking for, I think they've got 2 videos before that, but I couldn't find it. How it all was evolving. If you know, I'd love to know. So I've had a lot of time thinking about this because of my personal experience, right? Which is really all we have to go by.
Mhm.
And and is why I think that the importance of making that connection even before training, making the connection with the local group of guys. Because, and I meant to ask Mike this last night, but the question was, how do you prepare the student for the time when he goes home and he's flying by himself? You know,
I got you one before that. How do you prepare a student before he gets to class? Because there is, I mean, I was going to the gym about 9 weeks prior to schooling, and when I got there, I might as well have never have gone because I it was bad. I was talking 2.5, 3 hours in the afternoon after work, doing the treadmill, stairmaster, lifting weights, and when I got there, it was like I'd never even gone to the gym. I just got off the couch and stepped outside. Like it
yeah,
was horrible.
yeah.
But
I mean, the instructor has to get some, I don't know, some enjoyment out of being a slave master. It's kind of what it feels like, you know. It's
oh
hard
yeah,
work, right? I mean,
yeah.
if this was easy, everyone would be doing it. But so for that first flight, that's why I'm saying that the most important thing is to develop the relationship with that local group, so that when you come home, you have a support group already in place, and you don't have to fly by yourself the first however many times. You know, it will always be uncomfortable the very first time you fly by yourself. There's no getting over that. But that discomfort is what I think keeps you safe. You know, it kind of keeps you on your toes, and you're hearing your instructor in your head, and you're going through all the same routines, except it's not the instructor doing it. It's you doing it. Yeah.
Oh, every flight to this day, after over 3 years of flying, I still hear my instructor in my head. I literally do everything that I was told in class every single time. But how? God dang it! Sorry. Um. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay,
You all right?
man. It's a long story, but we've been cleaning things we haven't cleaned in this house in quite some time, and it's a little dusty in here. Apparently, we got some people coming down to visit this weekend that
Must be
are.
pretty important person. Must be pretty important people.
Well, one is really rich and has butlers to do all this crap, so I just want to make sure it's all right. The other guy, I mean,
Eh.
whatever. He's whatever. Um, so, Will, on your very first uninstructed takeoff on your own home field, whatever, how many people were there watching you take off?
No one. And
Really?
yeah, no one. I,
Oh,
I, I, I would have, looking back, I should have had one trusted person there, not a group, but one trusted person. Um,
I had no comms, and I had probably close to 12 people watching me, and they all knew it was my very first takeoff without instruction. And I was just like, oh, and I will tell you, my very first inflation, I was so in my head that it came up, went right back down. I was just like, oh god, like I'm so in my head, and then the very next, I they helped me reset up, and I took off, and that was it, dude. I was just like, okay, we're good.
yeah,
And but that very first time without the instructor in your head, I mean, you inflate and you don't hear them saying, pull right, brake, go left, whatever, blah blah blah. You're just like, everything feels right. Okay, great. Let's add a little throttle, a little throttle. It did take me a long run to actually take off the ground because I wasn't given enough throttle because I was checking the wing the entire time. And finally, I was like, oh, dude, this thing's flying all by itself. Let's go. And I was gone and never looked back.
yeah.
Hey, do we want to give any shout outs here, Will? Everybody in the
Yeah, I
chat, real
wanted to
quick.
say, yeah, I do. I wanted to get James. Yeah, he thinks engines can get quieter with four strokes, but he hit the nail on the head. They're going to be heavier, and the props I'm sure can get quieter as well. Drones have quiet prop designs. Yeah, they do. That's right, because I ordered some the other day, and we were. I think we were talking specifically about wings, but the motor is part of a paramotor, and I'm still thinking that the future is going to be electric as far as the motors go. Did you want me to do it, or do you want to do it, Shane?
I want you to do it, but I want to ask you real quick. Have you put a reserve on before?
No, I have
Uh,
not.
Great. We're going to do it Thursday night. All
Oh,
right.
no, no. Me personally have not put it on.
We are going to do it Thursday night.
Well, I hope you have the instruction booklet.
I have my very foggy memory of what I was told how to do it, so it should be fine. Nothing to worry about.
You'll be fine.
Will's like, as long as I'm not attached to it, it'll be fine.
So yeah, we got John Wayne in the house. Hope you're feeling better, John, soon. Mike Jasper, what's up? Mr. Dana 54, what's up, Dana? Will Fly, Daddy Dutch Barbecue, and Linda Anderson, Paramom, Mad Sloper, James, what's going on? PPG, the other Nick, hey man, Tony Marzano, Kramer's in the house, Bill H, and Angela Preslick, with a heart, Angela, and see, Linda Anderson, I already said that, but hello. Scuba, what's up, man? Glad you're here. Slow Days is in the house. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. If I missed someone, I'm sorry. I'll go back through it, but I don't think I did. Yeah, I hope you guys are having a happy Valentine's Day. What's up, Mark?
What's up,
Hey,
Mark?
how y'all doing?
Good.
Glad to be here.
Hey, I don't. Real quick, Will. I don't. I can't guarantee it, but I believe Slow Days was there on my first takeoff unassisted.
Really? Were you Slow Days? Do you remember that?
I don't know if he was or not. I want to say he was, but I'm not 100% sure. There was a bunch of the guys from the compound at that time there, and it was nerve wracking for sure.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about the Mad Sloper says he personally thinks that everyone should start paragliding first and then go to power paragliding?
It's going to be hard for me here in Florida.
That would be, I agree with him entirely. In an ideal situation, knowing what I know now, I think I would be a better paramotor pilot had I started with paragliding. But of course, it's kind of hard in the East, and it that would increase the cost of getting in and stuff like that. But I agree wholeheartedly.
Mark, you went to school and got training. You weren't self-taught, correct?
Yeah, correct. I went to Kalamazoo out in Corpus Christi, Texas.
All right.
Mr. Dana 54 says his instructor said, walk down the driveway with the motor on your back, then we'll get you in the air. No other training before my 2 flights of 12 minutes total, including a broken finger.
Holy good Lord.
Man.
Sounds close to where I went to school.
Yeah, that's similar to Vale. Jeff Pearson. That's similar to his situation. His first training was he showed up at an airport and said, "Hey, I bought this thing. Can you teach me how to fly it?" Because he couldn't find anyone that would even teach him. And he said, "Yeah, you just go over there by the old fence and you point it in the way, lay out your wing point in the wind, gun it, and go." That was his first instruction.
Oh, man. I don't even think that should even be that's just wrong. I mean, how bad would you feel if you told somebody to do that and they got hurt?
Well, this was back in 2003. So there was
still
new. It is what it is.
Oh man.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know about that, dude. That one's a tough one. Mark, how was your dinner with the missus?
It's fantastic.
How many servants did you have tonight?
You know what you're talking about.
I can't remember.
Went to McDonald's.
All I know is tomorrow you need to listen to the first 5 minutes of this show. You're going to be appreciated.
Yeah. I wish I don't have my computer up here today, so I can't see the chat, unfortunately.
There seems to be a certain, I don't know, glow about you or something's different. I can't quite put my finger on.
I shaved today and got a haircut. Look at me go.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
Let's real quick. Let's talk about James and his question here because I'm with him on this because honestly, I mean I spent close to I think $13,500 to get training and my equipment. That's I, I'm a I, I'm a blue collar worker, dude. That's a lot of money for me.
It is. No question about it. I mean, so James says, how do we get them cheaper? Training at some is 3,900, wings now for 4,500, and motors for up to 12,000. Prices are rising at too rapid of a rate. I mean, yeah, I freaking eggs are ridiculously priced now, but um, the only way I would know how to get it lower is to increase the competition. And I think that's happening with we've got some new motors that have come online. But yeah, I don't know. So you go ahead, Mark.
I was just thinking if you can't afford new stuff, which I mean I understand some people might not be able to afford it. I would just think, you know, that you could buy good used gear, good enough used gear.
If you have experience with gear, but if you're new at this, you don't know what's new, what's good, and what's bad.
Which
I
is
mean,
why it's important to develop the relationship with that good
local group, yeah.
group. That's exactly right. Because you never know. And when it comes to money, people do funny things. So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I went the new route, and someone asked me how much do they need to start up, with paramotoring, new gear and stuff, the number that I came up with was 15,000. But I suspect, now that was with all the bells and whistles, the helmet, the comms, all the little things that I want that, I want that, I want that, that you tend to get along the way. I suspect it's a lot higher now.
Yeah, I think the wing cost is, and I get it. Everything with the economy and with the COVID and everything has been ridiculous. But I mean, it's going to be hard to find or someone that's. It's going to be hard for someone to buy a new wing when there's going to be so many used wings out there because no one can afford to buy a new wing. So now we're going to all start buying well beaten or well used wings, and we're all going to start having trouble because no one's really wanting to drop $4,500 on a new wing. I wouldn't drop $4,500 on a new wing.
Yeah. So since over the last 3 years, I think a new wing was when I started 3,100, somewhere around there. Does that sound about right? 3,200.
I paid 34, I think 3,400 for my wing, brand new.
Yeah. So I mean, so in 3 years, it's gone up, $1,000. Um, there's no magic wand that I know of other than competition there. You
Yeah,
see Tony's comment?
yeah, I saw that, and then I seen Mad Sloper here. Um, I mean, I don't know, dude. It's to me, I'm gonna fly my wing until it does not pass inspection, and then I'm gonna fly it a little longer, and then I'll buy a new wing.
Right. So
I mean,
Tony said, go ahead.
it's to the point now where it's the time I need a new wing. It's gonna be $5,000 for a new wing. That and only to get 400 hours UV hours out of it. It's just
Yeah.
it's not worth it.
I'm one of those guys that has a total of one wing.
Me too.
A lot of these guys have, 3, 4 wings, and it's like depending on what day of the week it is or what color they want to fly. No, it's more detailed than that. It's depending on what they want to do, whether cross country or just go low and slow or whatever.
Right.
But Tony was saying that it was that's the reason that people want to self train, and it's a strong. I mean, that would motivate me too to look at that. But in the long run, you end up spending more money doing it that way, I believe.
Yeah. I just don't get it, man. Um, I, so this is an expensive sport because you're not only just talking about your upfront cost of buying equipment, but every year you got to get an inspection, and if you have a reserve every year that has to get inspected after the second year, and your harness needs what is a harness good for 400 hours something like that.
Yeah, it's about I think it's like 650 somewhere thereabouts for a harness. That's
Yeah,
Dudak, I think.
I mean, this sport is not a cheap sport to get into, which I didn't honestly know. I just, like I said, I've told the story 100 times. I was sitting in the woods hunting. Some guy flew over in a paramotor 20 plus years ago, and I came home and turned on my computer and hit the dial up and AOL and started searching for this sport. And it was out of my price range. And after my son passed of cancer, I say my wife's like, you're an idiot. You want to fly still? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, we'll make it happen. So we made it happen. And by we, I mean her. And that's how I got in the sport. But I had no idea about the cost of annual inspections. Just all this stuff. Freaking flying, driving to the fly-ins, going to the fly-ins. No one told me this was addictive, but yet here I am.
The first one's free. Yeah.
The first one's free, but no one told me after that, dude. It was gonna just constantly cost me time off of work and driving and paying for all this stuff and cooking for a bunch of guys and
Here's
uh,
here's a question because yes, it's a sport, but it's also a hobby, and to some, it's an important part of their life because it's therapy and all that.
yep.
How much does because I have no idea, but how much does a nice new set of golf clubs cost? Anyone know?
No.
Nope.
I would say probably around 4 because every time on the golf course, all I hear is 4.
Yeah, yeah.
Got him.
If anyone
I,
in the chat knows, yeah, kind of give us your
I
best.
would I would be willing to bet that decent golf clubs are under $3,000.
What? Jesus, man.
I was thinking in the thousands myself.
No.
Yeah,
Well,
but I mean, they got the only problem with that is costs you $100, $150 every time you want to use them.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. That yeah, it's a sport and it's a hobby at the same time to a lot of people. And Mad Sloper spent $3,000 on his golf clubs, and that was probably whatever. I don't know how long that was today. I'm gonna look it up just for the heck of it.
well, I can. Well, can you answer me this? Why didn't the toilet paper cross the road?
That was back in 2007. I have no idea, Shane.
It got stuck in the crack.
Ah! What's a good name brand of golf clubs? Titleist? Is that such a thing, or are they like bowling balls?
Listen, I don't know anything about. I actually own a pair of golf clubs. I couldn't even tell you what they are.
I hope you own a set. If you just have a pair.
I have one golf club, and it's a 3-iron, and I went to a secondhand store just to pick it up. So when I walk in the neighborhood, I got something to in case dogs come chasing or whatever, and that has happened. That's all I know about golf.
Yeah,
now,
I don't know much more.
Krista and I will go to the golf range. We'll get 2 buckets of balls and we'll just sit there and smack balls. But I've never played a round of golf ever, and I don't have any wants to do it. Now, you guys have been to Mark and Michelle's in Ohio, Krista's family farm up there, and he's got his own tee and everything else sitting out there over the pond. But and they play golf constantly, and I've got no wants to do that. None of that seems to me like I'm interested in that at all.
It for me, it's just it would just be another high end, an expensive hobby, because I mean, it's not like you know, a lot of my buddies that golf, they want to golf 3 days a week.
Matt
Takes
Sloper.
up a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah. Matt Sloper says, no, that's not the one I wanted. You used to pay 160 to 190. What was that for?
No, you
I
used to
think,
play 160 to 190 rounds of
Oh,
per year.
dang. No, what he said is he uses the golf course now without touching
Yeah.
touching.
Yeah. Now, if you want to count flying over golf courses and foot dragging the greens and stuff, I've played several rounds of golf in that sense, but not actually hitting a ball there.
yeah, no green fees.
No, unless you try to water foot drag the pond there, and well, and then you get green fees. So all right, so we've talked about the self-trained and use gear. So what is your major concern, Will, with used gear? You personally?
My major concern for someone else looking at used gear would be
Yes.
that, like you said, they don't know enough. They don't know what to look for. They're just not experienced enough. If even if I were looking at something new, and I didn't know that person and they didn't have some skin in the game, and by that I mean they've got a reputation, like a local reputation to protect, and then I would have someone else look over the motor. It's just the way I feel about it. I don't have such a problem with used motors, I guess, as I would wings. If I had to go the used route, I would go a used motor, but I'd still want a new wing, if at all possible.
I do the opposite because I could see and feel the wing to see how crispy it is, to see just roughly um, how much use has been on it. I mean, you can like when I first got my wing, that thing was crispy as all get out. Is it still crispy? Yes, but it's not as what it was when I first got it. But a motor, um, you don't know how hard it's been beaten. I mean, there's some guys that literally go from the ground to 5,000 feet, do a bunch of acro, hit 1,000 feet, climb back up to 5,000, do it again over and over until they run out of fuel. And then there's other guys like me who literally never go more than 3/4 of full throttle after takeoff.
Yeah,
So
I see.
do you want to you don't know how the person flew?
True.
Again, if they just take off and they're cruising, I would buy Mark's motor in a hurry if he ever put it up for sale, because I know exactly how he flies. He's not ramping on it. He's not holding it down for 6 minutes to climb to 5,000 feet or however long.
It was 45 minutes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you don't know how the motor was run, and I know Mark how he runs it. Well, I'd buy your motor in a heartbeat too, because I know you guys don't literally climb up to 5,000 feet, do a bunch of acro, and come back down, and then put the gear away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you could buy a good used wing that somebody flew, you know, and of course it takes trust, but if you trust an inspector and you send the wing out and have it inspected, I won't buy a used one just because I don't need to. When I buy another, I mean, I only have one wing, but when I replace it, I'll replace it with a brand new one. Uh, but if you trusted, you know, whoever, a professional that's inspecting it, I think you could save, you see wings for in the $2,000 range, $2,500. I see those quite a bit. So if it was inspected, that would be one way.
Well, that's the only way I would buy a wing, if it had an inspection within the last three months and everything checked out on it. Then I'd be like, okay, now we're talking. But if it's not inspected, you're wanting $2,800 for a wing. I'm not giving you that.
If it was a super good deal and I knew the person, I'd probably go for it. But the reason I would rather have a used motor than a used wing is that motor parts can be replaced. You know, there's not a whole lot that you can't replace in a little two-stroke engine. That's just my line of thought. Whereas with when the glider fails inspection, well, I mean, you know,
Right, you're done.
yeah, you're pretty much done. Who was it who said there's somewhere? I'll tell you in a second. Oh yeah, Daniel Ralph said line stretching worries me more than porosity. And yeah, I mean it's a thing. So a new line set, I wonder if it's still around 750. Don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure of that, but I believe that still is pretty true. I mean, a line breaks, that can, you know, turn disastrous. Porosity, you know, that's not disastrous.
I was wondering why you guys weren't hearing me. I just realized I was on mute.
Yeah. Did you say something?
Nothing important, apparently.
Matt Sloper is going to try to get some oxygen and attempt to get to 17,999 feet MSL with his electric paramotor. Yeah.
So you don't really need oxygen. I mean, I'm sure at the time you'll wake up, you'll still be at 5,000 or 6,000 feet. I mean, you'll have plenty of time to come back around.
Either way, it'll make for a good video.
Oh God!
Hey, what was the answer to Tony's joke?
What was Tony's joke? I'm going to go with Angela.
No, dang it! I'll find it again.
Hey, Mark, you have no idea how much trouble you have caused me this week. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that.
And Krista.
Oh, I didn't mean to give her trouble.
Just saying.
You don't care so much.
I can tell.
Go ahead.
I was just going to tell Mark that my house is almost spotless from top to bottom, and I don't have a 14 maid service cleaning crew. It's just me and Krista.
Yeah, well, yeah. Every time somebody comes to my house, rest assured, whether the maids were here or not, trust me, I become the maid. Yeah.
Mr. Dana's got a good point. A good wing is more important to keep you alive than a good motor.
Yeah, we don't
that's
fly
100%.
We don't fly the motors. We fly the wings.
Yep, that's right. Well, Tony, man, I can't find your joke.
Well, he can just tell it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then James mentioned, was it James? No, I think it was.
Oh, wait, I missed. That's what I meant to put up there. Oh.
Yes. This is the kind of the white elephant in the room. No, that's not the one I meant to. Oh, did you just do that? I'm sorry, Shane.
Yes. No. You're good. You're good. I was trying to get rid of it. I just was putting it up there.
Okay.
And thank God I don't put my last name up there very often.
So there's the white elephant in the room. What's the point of dealers? We're not buying cars here with warranties. Cut out dealers and reduce $1,000 per wing. And well, I mean, you know, dealers have to make money too. And I have no problem with people making money in this sport. Absolutely not. So long as they're sincere about what they're selling, they're not just trying to sell one thing because they only represent one company. They're not pushing one thing. And even in that regards, I don't have such a problem with it if the person really believes in what they're selling. But yeah, that's back to the
and I got my opinion on some of that also is aviators, Sky Sports, these men that run those places like real businesses, and they have money invested in a facility and they have inventory. When I pick up the phone and call them, if they'll answer the phone and ship me out a part that day, within reason, I don't care what they charge, you know.
All in all, they're pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lot more than a equivalent weed whacker two-stroke motor part, but it's reasonable.
It's very reasonable when you use Mark's credit card, just so you know.
I don't even have a credit card. I just have one of my wife's.
He has a personal accountant.
Hey, Angela, I almost wore a jacket today. By jacket, I mean a sweatshirt to work today, but I decided not to. Still continued on with my shorts and t-shirt to work. It was almost cold enough here for a sweatshirt in February. My back door is open. All the windows in the house are open. It's, I think, 71 degrees in here right now, and the fan's blowing because it's so warm.
It doesn't snow in Vegas very often, does it?
I don't think so.
I have no idea. I've never been to Vegas.
Well, it did today, according to Angela, and so there's that.
One of these days, we'll have to make a trip out to Vegas and hang out with Tony and Angela.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I know we're not going to drive because Will can't drive more than 6 hours a day, whether he's passenger and or driver.
You know that's wrong.
Oh God, man. We were
This
talking.
Go ahead.
We were talking last night, you and I, and you're like, it's 14-hour drive from there to where we want to go, and it's what'd you say? It was 8 hours from yours, or
But dude, I'm not an over the road truck driver. I mean, it's not like that's what I do for a living. At 14 hours, that's a long drive.
dude, I drive
It's
to
going uphill too. It's going north.
Ohio, whether it's by myself or with somebody in the truck, the whole way. I just do it. Like I always thought that if I go out, I want to go out like my grandfather did, in his sleep, not screaming and yelling like everybody else in the car when they went off the cliff.
You heard that
I was
from me.
thinking that those wings, if you could get them overseas, if you could get them over there, very inexpensive.
Matt Sloper brought that up as a joke, I think, but I think he might be onto something.
Yeah, I was just thinking one of us could fly over to Europe and pick up a suitcase full. I don't know what they do to you in customs. Come back in with, $30,000 worth of wing.
They're all in Vietnam. Well, I mean,
Okay,
Vietnam,
forget it. Forget it. I'm out. I'm not traveling there.
No.
If prices keep going up, then people will find ways, or they'll cut back. I mean, regardless, the market's going to speak, and so long as the demand's there and they're willing to pay the price.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, for me, it's a new wing is out of the question. It's going to be a used wing for me.
I don't know.
For me, I don't think it's that big of a deal because it's not like you have to buy a wing, once or twice a year. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't because I don't fly that often. I only need a new wing like once every 3 years.
I'm gonna be getting one probably maybe next year. Well, we'll see. I literally am going to wait until my wing does not pass inspection before I start looking into getting another wing. And then I'll just sell that wing for a kiting wing and get $750, $900 for it.
Not really. You're not going to sell that wing, number one. And number two, does anybody know the answer to Tony's question? I do not.
My gut says no, but
Hefty.
comparatively.
Hefty. garbage bags. They make
Yeah, hefty. Yeah, I did that as a kid. As far as I know, there aren't, but that doesn't mean there aren't.
I
I don't.
could tell you if they're making them in Vietnam and selling them for 4,000, if you made it here, it would be 8.
You're right. It's only costing them 56 cents a week.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
you can get a lot done for a bag of rice.
Yeah, what wing was that, Mad Sloper? He paid $12.50 for a wing with an inspection too.
And how old was it?
Yeah. I mean, if it's a good deal, I'll buy it today. I mean, it would have to be the right circumstances.
If it's a good deal today, I'll have to start a OnlyFans page, and about 8 months from now, I'll have half payment.
I can't remember. One came across the internet that was in Florida, and it was a 23 or 4 meter, which I'm interested in whenever I do get a wing. I'm sure that's what size it's gonna be. And for a minute, I thought about it. It supposedly had 2 flights on it. Um, it might have been a Charger, but anyways, I was like, I'm not really in the market to buy a wing. Otherwise, I might have looked into that because it was cheap, like $2,800 or something.
All right, so everyone, real quick, everyone's putting in the temperatures and what all the troubles they're having. Here in Florida, today it was a high of 79, low of 66. Thursday it'll be 81, lows of 65. Friday is 86, low of 59. 70 on Saturday and low of 63. It's almost jacket weather here.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of curious, and I'm asking for a friend, but how are the winds?
Stand by, Goose.
All right.
I glanced at them earlier today, and they were fairly trashy.
That's today. All right.
Well, I mean, that was Friday and Saturday's forecast.
I can't look at that until it's the day before. To be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, I understand. So Scuba says his wing has only 1 hour on it. Scuba, I will make you a deal, man. I will buy your wing right now for $1,000.
Scuba, I will match, or actually, I will beat that with way less money than that. All right, so let's just call it Thursday. What is Friday? Friday is about 6 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour on the ground.
Oh, Mark will never find that high speed of wind.
6 gusts and 30. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, what are you worried about? Good Lord.
Oh, I'm not worried at all.
One thing I have found about the winds, like the kind you get on your phone or whatever,
Right.
The wind prediction, it might hit the surface wind on occasion correctly, but it has no clue about the gust. At least the ones that I've been using.
And that's why I use the Ryan Carlton app. The windy app, if I'm at the field, I'll look at it. Thanks, babe. Hey, can you go pee for me?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So is that a no? It says LMAO.
I'm horrible with looking at predictions. I literally, if I want to go, if there's an opportunity for me to fly tomorrow, I will look the night before I go to bed. If it's flyable, I'm out. If it's not, then I just stay in bed. And
Yeah.
I know there's a difference this weekend, but you guys are going to have to take that because I don't even know. However, I think Ryan Carlton only goes out, about 12 hours or 16 hours, something like that?
I think it's a day, 24 hours, isn't it?
I think so.
It does run. Yeah, you're right. So maybe like 24 hours or 18 hours. I don't know. But the only time I ever use Ryan Carlton is just before I'm heading out to fly, pretty much.
Right.
A couple hours before.
I bet you're going to use the hell out of it this weekend if you get a chance.
I might. I may. Yeah, I may. So James says that he's waiting for a used Viper cross country with low hours, and he'll buy it.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah. My next wing will most likely be, I don't know which one, but it'll most likely be a Mac Para, because I'm comfortable with it, and it's been a good solid wing. Hadn't had any problems. So I'll probably just stick with what I know. Kind of get stuff.
I flew a Charger that was real nice. It flew real nice. But I fly a APCO, Lift EZR, and if I had to order a wing tomorrow, I would order the same thing in smaller size, because I'm comfortable on that wing.
That's where I'm at. I have plenty of opportunities to fly new wings, but I never do because I'm not comfortable on anything other than what I'm used to. That's why I've been with my wife for 29 years. Something I'm used to.
That's just pure luck.
Yeah. No, it's because I'm very tolerable.
Yeah. James says that he's been trying to sell a wing and that they're not moving too fast on apparently on Facebook. So
I've seen about 150,000 paramotors, not wings, but paramotors on Facebook Marketplace here in my area. I'm like, man.
Any good deals?
There's been a couple. I think there was one that had 40 or 50 hours on it, going for about $3,000 less than brand new.
Huh. That's nice. Bill H is asking if I'm considering the Colorado too, and I am considering it. I'm just waiting to. I want more information about. It's got a different material being used for the ribs. So.
Oh, is that the stiffer?
Yeah, rod.
It's a rod. Yeah.
And how many hours are on your wing now, Will?
Man, I honestly don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to calculate. Probably over 250, easy.
Hey, Will, can we have your guy come back on soon and talk about that when it comes out? Because I'm interested in that.
Yeah, Brian Goff, and he said that he will. So when it's announced and when he has all the information. Actually, there were 2 new wings out at Flying Circus. I wonder if one. It wasn't a Colorado though, I don't think. So early spring is what he said, and it's kind of early springish.
It's warm here.
Yeah. Now the Charger 2 is, I've heard only good things about. I've heard that it's like leaps and bounds above the Charger, the original Charger, which was what my first wing was. So yeah, that would be a good choice. Bill H bought his first top 80 motor from a great guy in Spring Hill, Florida. I thought you were going to say Spring Hill, Louisiana. Yeah. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I think, Shane, we can't hear you.
Dude, I was straight up I was talking about how all great things come from Florida and blah, blah, blah. And I was on mute. Just ruined it. Damn it. We're at the last minute. I need to bail out of here, guys, from the show, but I need to talk to you two after the show. So let's just go ahead and bail out of here real quick because we got important things to talk about.
Yeah. Not more important though than you guys in the chat. And seriously, I've really enjoyed tonight's show, and it's always good catching up with y'all.
No, don't take that negative what I just said. I'm just saying we have some really important stuff that's going to be really great for next week's show, and we got to kind of start hashing that out. And I'm
That's
excited.
right. Actually, it's for them.
It is for them. I'm fully aware.
That's right.
But we need to get out of here so we can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Mr. Mark McElroy, where can we find you, sir, other than in your man cave every Tuesday night on Paramotor Hangout?
You can check me out on YouTube, Paralife PPG.
Mr. Will, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on YouTube. Look for Will Fly, or you can just go to willflyppg.com.
All right, and you can find me here, Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane, or on TikTok at ppgshane.com. Actually, if you look at ppgshane.com on YouTube, you'll pull up my channel. So, with that being said, I got to get this all. Look, I'm so excited. I haven't even got the outro, which is really the intro. I don't even know what I'm doing right here. All right, guys. See you guys next week. Peace out.
I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time, got no filter.